All right, how do you get more creative with your videos? This is really important if you really want to keep people engaged, particularly if you're making a long series like we're doing here with our Moonshot YouTube series. We want to share with you different ways to really mix it up and keep things exciting.
Yeah, spot on, Sue. So this is all about helping you guys make your videos more creative every time. These are pro tips from Sue and I, who've been working in this business for a long time, about how you can really milk the maximum creative out of every video shoot you do, either in your pre-production planning, when you're briefing your crew, or when you're on set. So really, we don't want to see any more.
No more uncreative videos. Learn how to make better videos so you don't make a boring one.
Definitely not. So one of the big things that you can do really simply that doesn't involve any cameras or any gadgets is based on performance. So something that I know I struggle with is, particularly when we're recording quite a few different episodes in one go, is energy. And energy is really important for performance. So it can really change the way the video comes across. So for example, what I mean is, am I going to be really big and animated and I'm really passionate and talking really enthusiastically because the topic is really important? Or am I really wanting to share this concept with you because it's really meaningful and it's really important? And that energy shift.
Yeah, I think performance and your talent goes hand in hand with whoever's providing direction. So, it doesn't even need to be a director, although you might have one, and that's great. It might be a producer or someone in the film crew, or yourself who's behind the scenes helping your talent. It is so critical that you're providing feedback that helps to guide talent, because it is very hard for people to know what type of energy to bring to a scene when they're in the moment. So you might need to say, can you make that bigger? Can you give it more energy? Can you make it quieter and more intimate? And having some range in there is going to be absolutely essential to keeping your audience engaged and your talent performing as well as they possibly can. And remember, your talent might be a professional, it might not be a trained actor. So it doesn't just go for actors, it goes for whoever is in front of camera.
Yeah, and it's a lot to do with the speed at which you talk. It's to do with how animated your body language is, the volume that you're speaking at, and also the level that you're speaking at. Are you, as we said before, really enthusiastic? Yeah. Or are you really getting really quite intimate and deep with your topic? So
what you're talking about there is so important, and it really is your role as the person behind the scenes. And you might delegate this to a director or a producer or one of the film crew, but you're still going to be there chiming in and helping your talent give the best performance by providing feedback. Now remember, your talent may not be an actor, it may be a professional, it may be one of your workmates, but giving them that feedback that you're talking about the energy, making it big, making it intimate, etc., is going to help them. Because remember, they're probably pretty nervous. They might be trying to recall information, they might be trying to read from a teleprompter, and to be honest, you might be watching it and going, it feels pretty wooden. It's not great performance. That's okay. You're there to help them. You're there to say, do you want to try that again? Like this or like that. And they're going to be very appreciative for that feedback, because they want to look as good as they possibly can on camera. And it's your role to help them do that. So that's a little pro tip around performance.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you're the one on camera, it can be really hard to actually know how you're coming across, and you might feel like you're really animated, but you're actually quite muted. So having that feedback is so important, and it's even harder for your voiceover guy. We've got the big guy in the sky. Say hi.
Hello.
Why is it harder for him?
Well, because he can't even be seen. He doesn't even have the body language advantage. So his performance is absolutely 100% in his voice.
Do you know what he looks like?
No idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Voiceover guide. Voiceover, and that's the next thing we're talking about here, is how to mix up your videos. And voiceover is a key tool you can use to really make your videos more engaging, particularly if you kind of go, fix it in post. There's a bit of a problem with our storytelling. You might need to bridge between ideas. You might need to really highlight an idea. This is what this stuff's good for.
This is a bridging comment. to help keep things flowing.
Yeah, so that's why we have our big guy in the sky, because it's a creative way that we can make the videos a little bit more interesting, something different, brings in a different character. It's not just Mike and I all the time. But another voiceover is commonly referred to as narration. So if you've got a narrator, that is also a type of voiceover. And that's probably the most common type of voiceover. And they're really, really helpful for delivering key messages. You know, you might have text on screen and then you've got the narration coming in over the top. And that gives people two ways to consume that information, audible and visual. So it's a really helpful tool as well.
Yeah, these techniques of voiceover and narrator, they're so helpful because it means that if your story's kind of not gelling, not hanging together, maybe things change during the shoot, they can still be fixed because you can then write narration to bring it all together into a cohesive whole. Very, very useful way of not only making your videos more creative, but making them more cohesive too.
Yeah, and we've used narration so many times through all our, particularly our longer form feature documentaries. Narration is a really useful thing that we use all the time.
I think we're actually using them more as techniques these days than we used to in the past, where we kind of resisted using them. It's much harder filmmaking doing it that way, and I think that it actually creates higher levels of engagement when you bring those elements in. So I would encourage you to consider using these audio voiceover elements.
Yeah, and you know, if you jump onto Fiverr, you can get a voiceover person really easily, and they've got a whole, like, if you go in there, there's just like catalogues of. I can't believe how many people do professional voiceovers, and you can just get it downloaded and give them the script, and it's so simple.
I kind of feel bad now because I think we need to let the big guy give himself a plug.
Yeah, okay. Plug yourself, guy.
Go to danjohnsonmusic.us/voiceacting.
So there you have it. If you want to jump on our party, that's our voiceover guy. The other thing we should touch on is sound effects, because sound effects are really, really useful as well. And one that I think is used a lot, and we're going to use it by way of example here, because it's kind of like a metaphor for when you don't want everything to fade to silence because you don't want to hear the crickets.
Or maybe you have a big idea. You know, so these sound effects are quite helpful in giving the audience a bit of guidance about, you know, what this means, why it is meaningful.
And it just adds a bit more personality as well when you're making content. So I think sound effects can be really, really useful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they become part of your storytelling. Here's one that I prepared earlier because you just nailed it, Sue. So I'll let you make the practical sound effect.
Felt a bit like a primary school teacher there.
There are great low-cost sound effects libraries available online. You can look them up, and they're an easy way to make your videos much more fun, more creative, and more interesting.
And have you subscribed yet? Have you subscribed to this channel? Please do subscribe, because it really does help us to make better content, and leave us comments. So subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Was it useful, and which bits were the most useful?
See you next episode.